Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Smitty and this is my book channel, Booksmitten. This video is going to focus on all the books that I read in January. Now, we were sick for about half the month, but I still managed to read 4 books. So let's get into it. The first book is Wintering: The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times by Catherine May. This memoir focuses on exploring periods of rest and likening that to that of nature's winter. The author uses this analogy as a way to navigate life, especially during challenging times. This book has been on my list for a while, and I decided to read it after listening to the author on this podcast, Voices in the River, that I really like. I'll make sure to link the podcast below. Now, after listening to the podcast, I do wish that this book was narrated by Catherine May. That's not to say that the narrator didn't do a good job, but hearing May speak about her life experiences on the podcast was so powerful that I'm glad to see that she decided to narrate her own future books. Now, while I enjoyed the podcast, I did have a hard time connecting with this book. It could have been the structure, the writing style, but it was my friend Erin's post on Goodreads that helped me pinpoint why I was having a hard time connecting with this book. Now, when it comes to Wintering, there's a lot of power and privilege that comes to play, especially what you might be in control of at certain points in your life. If I think back to times when I was in grad school or working for a really demanding employer because I needed the health insurance and money, now I'm very privileged at the moment because I have a lot more autonomy and control and flexibility over my schedule, so I can implement something like wintering in my life. However, I just wish that aspect of privilege was discussed a bit more and given a bit more time. Now, while I had a hard time connecting with the book, I did connect with the concept a lot. And overall, this was a 3.75 star read for me. Next up is Infused: Adventures in Tea by Henrietta Lovell. This is a memoir that explores the history, cultural significance, personal experience, and recipes of some of the world's teas. Now, I learned about this book through another channel, Olive Fellows' A Book Olive. She raved about this book, and I'll make sure to link her review below. Now, while this isn't a tea guide, you're going to learn a lot about tea. I loved reading the personal stories of the author and the recipes, and I do think the author narrated this book quite well. I felt a real personal connection to her excitement and her stories about tea. The weakest part of the book for me personally was the interpretations of the history and cultural significance of tea. This might just be the anthropologist in me being really nitpicky, but I remember reading certain lines and thinking, well, that's an interesting way to think about that. However, Lovell doesn't claim to be a historical expert on tea, and she very much says that this is her perspective. And I do appreciate that she is a strong perspective and guide as a narrator and author of this book. As a tea lover, I did really enjoy this read, and overall it was a 4.5 star read for me. Next up is The Stars Too Fondly by Emily Hamilton. This is part space adventure and part sapphic rom-com. Basically, Cleo and her friends accidentally activate a 20-year-old spaceship and its holographic Captain Billy. They're trying to figure out how to get back to Earth, and Cleo is also trying to figure out how to navigate her feelings for the hologram Billy. Personally, I love genre-bending works that feature diverse characters. Now, for me, the mystery aspect in this was okay. I think you could pretty much figure out where things were going pretty quickly. The romance was very sweet, and I enjoyed that aspect of the book. My favorite part of the book was the cast of characters, especially those aboard the spaceship. This is a medium-paced book, but there are some parts that go quite quickly and other parts that go a bit slower. I listened to this as an audiobook, and the narrator, Vico Ortiz, they did a fantastic job. Overall, this was a 4-star read for me. Last on the list is Immortal by Sue Lynn Tan. This is a romantasy in which a young woman must figure out an alliance with the god of war in order to save her kingdom. Now, I don't want to give away any more about the plot because there are a lot of twists and turns. This is a new release, and I pretty much picked it up as soon as it came out because I love Sue Lynn Tan's writing. It was both enchanting and gripping, and I was completely completely hooked, and I think I finished this in about a day or two. I listened to this as an audiobook, and I was really happy to see that Natalie Naudis was the narrator. She's narrated Sue Lin Tan's other books, and I thought she did a great job. Now, I should mention that this is set in the Celestial World Kingdom, but you don't have to read the Celestial Kingdom duology to understand what's set in the book. In fact, I had a really hard time identifying any Easter eggs that alluded back to the original duology. The only thing that I picked up on was that they mentioned this Celestial Emperor, and I wasn't sure if they were talking about Li Wei or his father, which also made me unsure where in the timeline we were in comparison to the Celestial Kingdom duology. That's to say, you can absolutely read this as a standalone book without reading her duology first. Clearly, I enjoyed this one, and this was a 4.75-star read for me. So those were the books that I read in January. If you are curious about any of them, let me know in the comments, or if you read any of them and have thoughts, also let me know in the comments. If you'd like to see what I read last month, check out this video here. That's all for this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.